Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to see each and every single one of y'all here. I knew that when we called this a policy party, it was going to be bumping. And I'm so absolutely ecstatic to see everyone. And I cannot wait a minute longer to get this show on the road. So let's get started. Thanks again for coming. I'm so pumped. So I guess we'll start off by just taking a little moment for you guys, to get to know Angelina and I a little bit better. So obviously, my name is Mia Lejeune, and I am running for student body president with my friend Angelina Cantelli. And this is my first time kind of diving into the deep end of student government. This is my first time running for office, but I'm super excited because I think I have a lot of experience and knowledge to bring to the table and really make student government step up its game in terms of representing the students. So currently, I serve as the GoVote president and simultaneously the Andrew Goodman Foundation ambassador. In previous years, I'd served as the Greek life coordinator because I'm also a member of Pi Beta Phi. In addition to that, I took off my sophomore year of college to work for Governor Edwards' reelection campaign, where I served as the scheduler. And I went on to work in his inauguration and transition team. And then I went on to work on his fourth floor office. And then I was a governor's fellow at the Department of Children and Family Services, where I learned a lot about college age food insecurity. And I'm also a manship girly. So, I'm all into the political scene. But I think that all of my knowledge and experience about, Louisiana government and statewide offices really are going to help me to be the best body president that I can be. The main responsibility of the student body president is to advocate for students on a variety of levels. It's not just, working hands on with student government, while that is the case, but also someone who's going to be confident and assured enough to go to the president's office, the board, the state legislator, and even the governor. So students can be confident with me as their president that, I am going to be one of those leaders who stands up for the issues and is not just doing this to build my own resume or looking for that letter of recommendation. This is something that I've been doing since my time at LSU, and I'm confident that I can continue doing it in the role of the student body president. So thanks you guys for taking a shot on me.
Hey y'all, my name is Angelina Cantelli. I am the vice presidential candidate on this ticket. I am an HSS girly. I'm majoring in psychology and English, and I'm minoring in women and gender studies. I am the community education intern at STAR, which is Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response. Last year, I was their development intern, so I've worked in 2 offices there now. I am also the co-founder and co-president of Tigers Against Sexual Assault. And then unlike Mia, I have been involved in student government all 3 years of my college experience on the executive branch. And this year I currently serve as the deputy chief of staff. And then lastly, I am the student representative on the University Council on Gender Equity, and I'm the chair of the Experiences of Women of Color subcommittee. And I'm super excited to be with y'all tonight and for y'all to learn a little bit more about what Mia and I have planned.
So now we're going to take a moment to introduce y'all to our incredible staff who's been working so hard behind the scenes to make this campaign and a future Lejeune Cantelli administration different than anything you've ever seen before. So let's go to the next one. So first, I'd like to introduce our campaign manager, Charlie Stevens. He is an incredible leader, not only at LSU, but also, on the state level with a variety of campaigns and, elected officials. So he's definitely a good nut to have. Next is Ricky Bryant, who is our student government guru. He is serving as our campaign advisor. Next is Devin Woodson, who's also serving as our campaign advisor. Devin and I started out in GoVote together and have been really good friends ever since. And so I'm super excited to have his support on this campaign. And then our director of logistics is Josh Shavantics, our very own Josh. He's Angelina's boyfriend. I was like, I don't know what to say nice about him. And then our director of internal affairs is Sydney Mayu. She helps with staff cohesion and making sure that, we treat student government like, an important thing, but also as a club sometimes. And then next we have finance, which is Chris Waldron, who is our director, and our assistant director, Justin Savoie. Angelina, do you want to take it away?
Yes, our candidate manager is Olivia Taylor, who is currently the chair of budget and appropriations in the Student Senate. And then our college council candidate manager is Kelly Robertson, who's currently the vice president of the Engineering College Council. Our active campaign week team is stacked with some amazing people: Chance Townsend, Jaleesa Francis, Olivia Landry, and Gabby Parker. And our outreach team is stacked with other amazing people: Caitlin McCaskill, Parker Loy with IFC, Emily Chenault with PhD, Courtney Harding and Illyria Thomas with NPhD, and then Annalise Fadrine and Heidi Doward with campus-wide outreach. And our comms team, even more legends. Taylor Davis is our director of comms, and Lauren Leonard is our director of designs. And then we have Colton Tilley and Bella Rivera helping out with social media, Tyler Johnson and Carly Smith helping with our photos and videos, and Olivia James, who's our director of messaging. You can go ahead, Mia.
And then, of course, we have our incredible policy team who has been working so hard to actually put the how to our whys. And so I'm super excited about that element of this campaign. First, we have Everett Craddock in the director position. Liba Iqbal is an assistant director along with Tori Jackson and Camille Norton. So we are super pumped to have this incredible group of policy, because this is a policy party after all. And so now we're going to take this into an icebreaker just so that we can kind of warm up and get to know everybody. This is kind of weird because we have a setting, and so we can't see y'all, but we'd love for you guys to participate in the chat and blow us up with your answers for Angelina's version of this and that.
Hey y'all, so yeah, we're gonna play a quick game of this or that, so you can just send your answers in the chat and I'll be watching to see if you agree with me. So the first question is superior or caliente when you're feeling some Mexican food?
There's only one right answer here.
I'm seeing lots of superior. I don't think, oh wait, someone said caliente. Don't feel ashamed if you're not a superior stan. That's okay. Okay.
I'm making moves. Oh wait, I accidentally direct messaged Angelina.
Someone said caliente food superior margs. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so next question is in the Union, Panda Express or Chick-fil-A?
While y'all are going for it, fun fact, my freshman year, I briefly had a stint working for the Daily Reveille, and they wanted me to write about something that impacted students. And I, that day, was impacted because Panda Express at the time closed at 4. So I wrote an article about how that was ridiculous. And they ended up changing it for a semester, but I was apparently the only one who wanted to go later than 4. So they changed it back. But you know what? The progress was still there for a second.
You know, really working on the issues that matter. Okay, that was pretty split, I would say. Next question is ice cream or snowballs? Oh, someone said it closes at 7 now. So
yes, I did do something, y'all.
Someone in the chat said snow cone, and I'm personally offended. A lot of ice cream. No love for snowballs here. Baskin Robbins. Not the North Louisiana, that's right. Real Louisianians say snowballs. Okay, next question is a less fun one. Laundry or dishes? Which one would you rather do? Dishes.
Angelina wants to know about your chore tendencies.
Okay, for me, it's laundry because I don't like doing the dishes because I don't like food on plates, and yeah, no. But a lot of people
you need to put a trigger warning to the idea of wet food on plates.
Sorry. Yeah, wet food is gross. Okay. Baths or showers? Important question. I'm a bath girly. A lot of showers in the chat. A lot of showers.
We have a tall campaign. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, Mia and I have come to the consensus that if you're tall, you take a shower because you can't fit in the bathtub. But maybe we're wrong. Maybe short people like showers too. We're both short, so as long as we clean. Okay, well, our theory has been busted because Tara's 5 foot tall and she takes showers.
I'm 5 foot tall, short queen. This is a girl campaign. Well, you know, to bring it back to business for a second, Angelina and I, if elected, are going to be the first female student body president and vice president in LSU's history. And I'm super excited about that because I think that it's just super timely and momentary that we have that. and LSU, that kind of representation on LSU's campus. And so, this is a girls' campaign. We're here for the ladies. And
Also,
especially short girls.
I have no evidence for this, but we might be the shortest student body president and vice president ever. Mia's 5 foot, I'm 5'2". So anyways, back to our icebreaker. Next question is coffee or tea? Lots of coffee, very few. Well, no, I've actually seen a good bit of tea. Iced coffee, yeah. Interesting. Morning coffee, night tea. That's smart.
Oh, okay. I like the spice.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, TV shows or movies?
I'm a TV girly. My attention span is not that long. And I do be falling asleep.
I think, but like, is your attention span really not that long? Because now like you can binge TV. So it's like the same. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Okay, last question is cookies or cake? Oh, more development with TV. That's true. Cookies. Yeah, definitely cookies. Someone said ice cream cake, king cake. That's true. Cookie cake. Whoa, you broke the system.
This is getting too complex for me. I thought I was gonna like end with the complexity. It's snowballs versus ice cream, but apparently not.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all for indulging us and having some fun for a few minutes.
Yeah, now back to business again. So we know whenever we started this campaign, Angelina and I really wanted to make sure that we were coming into this conversation and coming to all of you with authenticity and transparency. And so whenever we were brainstorming our core values that campaigns typically come up with, these were the 5 words that really stuck with us and sums up what we stand for. So they are revive, revolutionize, purposeful, accountability, and transparency. I think that Angelina and I's different perspectives and the outlooks that we bring to student government really symbolize revive and revolutionize. Angelina stands for the revive side of things. She's been an incredible mover and shaker on student government staff for the past 3 years. And she's here to bring back, student government to its glory days and, what could be achieved for students under competent and clear leadership. And then I'm more of the revolutionized side. I've seen, politics regarding LSU take action at the State House and with different elected officials. And so I want to bring some of that outside knowledge into the student government office so that student leaders can equip other students with the best information that they have on their university and on this campus. Purposeful, everything that Angelina and I do and all the policies that you will hear about are not just meant to, try to catch your attention or, use words that might, inspire you for a minute. These are things that we actually intend to accomplish and actually, aim to achieve every single day. So each policy that we have isn't just a why statement. It's a how we are going to achieve it and what we plan to do to get to the best LSU and the best campus possible. Accountability, we want to hold administrators accountable. I think last year presented a lot of challenges and struggles within the student body and, exposed a lot of deficiencies within our university. And a lot of those were placed back on the students as burdens. And the administrator said, you, as the students, need to be fixing those things, when in actuality, we need to be putting pressure on them to fix it for us. As the university works for us, we don't work for the university. And I think that it's high time that, students start remembering that, and that administrators especially start remembering that. And then as far as transparency, so many times as a student leader on this campus, working with Go Vote, I would go to ask, the student body president or a student government member a question about something that I was trying to pursue for our community. And the answer I would get back is, oh, well, I have to talk to the president's staff in a closed door meeting. Or, oh, me and President Galligan were talking about that on the jet. And whenever you're a student leader trying to accomplish something for your students, you don't want an episode of Bridgerton, okay? You actually want to hear what they are doing to represent you and the other students on this campus. And so So Angelina and I pledge and promise that whenever we're working for you, it won't be like that. That, whenever we meet with the president's office, we're going to put out a list of minutes of what was discussed, what we aim to fight for, and the compromises and resolutions we reach. So I think that there's a lot of things that we can do to make student government livelier again, but also an institution that students trust. So yeah. Next. And so our mission statement, all that comes together to say to revive and revolutionize student government through purposeful actions that increase transparency and accountability in order to make an impactful change on campus for all LSU students. And I think that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. This is Amy.
Women. So you might be wondering, what is student government? And so student government is the collective voice for students on campus, which advocate a wide range of issues and actively work to develop policies with university officials. And so in student government, there are 3 branches. There's the legislative branch that houses our student senate. There's the executive branch, which has the executive staff and college council. And college council is made up of a president, vice president, and 3 members at large for each senior college. And then there's also the judicial branch, which handles court proceedings and stuff to do with like the rules and the bylaws of student government.
So you might be wondering, why should you get involved, running for a seat for not student council, for college council or student senate, or why should you support a ticket? And I think that Angelina and I and the team that we have built a campaign that really aims to make history on this campus. We don't want to just leave a legacy for the moment or build a legacy for ourselves. We are here to build an LSU that actually reflects the needs of its students, that actually listens to its students and hears their concerns. And we want to change, LSU's whole makeup so that students can come here and feel actually appreciated and respected on campus. And I think that if you want to be a part of that movement, if you've ever felt, a little bit lost on this huge campus and there was not really a person to turn to, that shouldn't be the case ever again. And Angelina and I, want to see that come to fruition. And I think that if we had every single one of you on our ticket with us, that we could achieve that, and we could achieve something bigger than any of us or any student government campaign, but something that improves LSU for the long term and builds sustainable change together. And so I'm excited about that. And I think that, if you have any reservations about joining a ticket, that just think about, how you were feeling as a freshman and lost and nowhere to turn to, but think how there's some students here today that still feel that way and they could be graduating this year. And I think that we've been given an opportunity in 2021 to really make a difference on how we live as students on this university campus. So yeah, that's why you should join. So now we're going to get into the real reason we're all here, is to have a party about policy. Okay. So policy is something that is super important to Angelina and I. One thing that really deterred me from getting involved with student government, when I was a freshman, was I went to an interest meeting, looking for something to stand for, looking for something to believe in. And they asked me, they were like, what do you believe in? And then they wrote it down. And then the next thing I know, that's something that they're running on as a platform. And, of course, Angelina and I want to hear your ideas. We want to hear what makes you tick, what motivates you as students. But at the same time, we also want you to know that there are things that we stand up for and that we believe in that will improve this campus and improve community life. So I think you can be confident in us actually having a direction, and not only, a motivation and incentives for, wanting to do this, but also a path to victory, if you will, to actually get there. So the first thing that I want to kind of touch on is civic engagement and voter registration on LSU's campus. This is something that I have worked on, since I've come to LSU, and is something that we that I think is incredibly important. Everybody comes to higher education to become better citizens. We want to learn more about what makes how our world works and increase our horizons and expand our knowledge base. And so many people leave this university without an understanding of why it's important to vote. And I think that that's the most critical thing that you can learn as a citizen. And so I'm, hopeful based on conversations that we have already started having with the president's office and President Galligan, that this is something that we can see become a reality. I would like to see civic engagement and voter registration become institutionalized on LSU's campus. That means that not that means that every single student who comes into this university is registered to vote. Whenever you're applying for your dorm and your food plan, you should be given an opportunity to register to vote. And then not only that, sophomores, juniors, and seniors should be enhanced with curriculum about why it's important to be civically engaged, why it's important to participate. And you know what? This not only helps students become better citizens and achieve our goals in life, but it also helps the university. There's no bigger supporter at LSU than the 37,000 students on this campus. And so if every single one of those students went out to vote when there was a policy or a candidate on the ballot that might respect higher education and prioritize it, that's so critical to our state, because when our state goes through an economic downfall, the first thing that gets cut is higher education. But if we were all standing up for our school and ourselves at the polls, then maybe that wouldn't always be the case. And then I also want to go back and touch on equity and diversity. In the last year, we have seen so many struggles and challenges, within LSU regarding equality and diversity. Literally just last night, the faculty senate, the how the language aside, but basically they are not accepting the idea of an African American studies course on LSU's campus. And I quite personally think that is a failure of our administration and our faculty. And I think a lot of teachers are on the wrong side of history on that issue. I think that we as university students, like I'm saying, come here to become better students and better citizens. And we need these types of courses to teach us, help us understand our privileges, understand our backgrounds so that we can improve experiences for everyone in our state, our country, our university. Not only that, but there has been a lot of last summer, LSU, when the cameras were on them, made a lot of promises regarding diversity and equity. And now that the cameras are off of them, sometimes they don't always uphold those values and uplift those things. I know that the renaming committee is working really hard to get those names on the buildings redone, but we would like to see, we have to ask the administration for some transparency on those issues, and making sure that, the students are being involved in those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely, Mia. And the next thing that's really important to us is health and safety. So this goes for physical health as well as mental health in the health portion. So first and foremost, obviously we're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, and there's a lot that we as students have to worry about for our health and our personal safety whenever we're just attending classes in person or walking around campus. And so we want to hold LSU accountable for things like vaccine distribution and ensuring that students can feel safe when we return to a back to normal school environment. And then beyond that, we also want to ensure that even when that vaccine does come out and is available to college students, that we still have testing centers and other resources on campus available so that we can have extra confidence in our university that they're taking the right steps to make sure that we are healthy first and foremost. As far as mental health goes, I think most of us can attribute that college is hard, and a lot of college students struggle with mental health, rightfully so. And LSU has to be able to have the right resources to meet those needs. And so we need to do everything we can to streamline the resources that are available in the Student Health Center, because those people are working very hard and trying their best, but sometimes they don't have the funding or the availability to be able to handle all of the people who want to see them. And so one example of something that we would really like to see streamlined at the Student Health Center is the having the ability to make students students having the ability to make mental health appointments online. You can already make all your other type of appointments at the student health center online. And so we think that adding mental health would be very beneficial. I'm a person with anxiety, and I know that calling to make a doctor's appointment is already very anxiety inducing, especially if it's about my mental health and me having to admit that I'm struggling. And so we really want to make it a goal of ours to make that simple change so students can be more comfortable whenever they have to reach out for help. As far as safety goes, we're probably all aware of the allegations that came against our university regarding sexual assault last semester. And it's time for LSU to be held accountable in that regard and fire people who covered up sexual assault allegations. But it's also time for students to feel safe whenever they're just walking around campus at night. We're advocating for increased lighting in areas where people have said time and time again that they don't feel safe whenever it's after dark. We're also advocating for revamping the safety app so that it's usable for students and students feel comfortable relying on that for their physical safety. And so, and lastly, we also want to get rid of the red tape surrounding reporting sexual assault on this campus. And that's clearly a big task and something that would be done over the years. But through my work in TASA and at STAR, I've seen time and time again that LSU is not matching peer institutions in how we report sexual assault and how we handle Title IX cases. Of course, no university does a great job of handling Title IX cases, but other universities have things like an Office of Equity that focus solely on injustices and things that can make the college experience harder on their campus, where Title IX is housed, so that all the red tape and bureaucracy surrounding it is wiped away. Meanwhile, here at LSU, we have clear signs of bureaucracy, such as the Dean of Students being a deputy Title IX coordinator, which can serve as a way for the university to get those numbers down so that it doesn't seem like we have as many sexual assault cases as we do. And so, yeah, me and I really value physical health and mental health and safety of all students on this campus, because if you don't feel safe and you're not comfortable, you're never going to be able to have a good education experience here.
And then for sustainability, we have been working very hard with our incredible policy team to improve sustainability on LSU's campus. We have so many researchers and studies being going on here on campus that are saying how important it is for us to take climate change seriously, how important it is for us to recognize the effects of global warming and coastal erosion on our very own state. But at the same time, while the university is telling us these things and expecting students to act, they are the ones who are throwing recycling into the landfill, which directly contradicts exactly what they're promoting and what their studies are showing. And so we would like to see more concentrated efforts on improving our sustainability. We're not going to just get rid of the Exxon quad in a year, but there are definitely things that we can do to reduce our global our carbon footprint on the earth. And so that includes composting on Greek Road. Those sorority houses and fraternity houses do make a lot of food waste. They have a lot of people going in and out of there, but composting them and reusing that, soil and compost around campus could really, help reduce some of that waste. We also could improve on, our energy sources by putting green roofs on all university buildings. But these aren't going to be easy requests of the administration. So you need someone in these offices who are demanding what the students want, and also who are comfortable enough with the subjects to actually, talk on them confidently and continue to put pressure on administrators. And I think that that's something that you'll notice about all of our policies is that these are not just things that impact one group of people, one echo chamber. Student government has a reputation of coming off as self-serving and only wanting to help the president or vice presidential candidates, or only looking out for certain circles on campus. And our policies that Angelina and I are pursuing are not that way at all. Civic engagement and voter registration is something that impacts every single voice on LSU's campus. Safety and health are also things that impact every single student. And these are all things that we can work towards to improve and make a better university experience for everyone. And I think that while we do LSU, like, we know LSU is a great campus, but we don't stand up on a lot of these areas, like Angelina was saying, to peer institutions. I know civic engagement, we fall behind the nation and, even the SEC on the amount of students we have registered to vote and the amount of students who are participating in elections. And so I think that it's important that we recognize our faults and, step up to the challenge. But while we do have a lot of policies that would impact, a wide variety of, communities on campus, student government is something that I think most of us here are passionate about and have an interest in, but our student government office definitely does need some reform and have some accountability on its own. We can't just blame it all on administrators. And so Angelina and I have come up with a few plans to actually improve not only, how we would act in an administration, but how we would act in a campaign. Its time really stands out in that we are not asking for any type of campaign dues from any person who decides to get involved with our campaign. We will be doing fundraising efforts on our own, donation drives, and real true grassroots campaigning, but we will not ask any student to donate any of their own money to this campaign. And I think that that's something that speaks volumes about this campaign and where our intentions lie. We don't want to make the students work for us. We work for the students. And I think that that's the core of all of our policy. And it's going to reflect in our administration. Like I was saying about transparency and releasing memos and minutes at the end of each meeting that we have with the president's office, and just being more accessible to students.
Yeah, so there are three main ways that you can get involved in our ticket. You can run for a seat in the Student Senate or in College Council. And so, just to explain those two, I did earlier, but as far as running goes, Senate is allotted seats by senior college, and it goes by how many people are in your senior college. And then College Council has 5 set seats for every senior college. Or you can become a supporter, and typically people who support may apply for a position on the executive staff after if we were to be elected. But yeah, those are the 3 main ways that you can get involved.
Yeah, and I, just would encourage every single one of you to step up and to, get involved with this campaign. Last year, 2020 was tiring. There was a lot going on, between a pandemic, one of the most challenging elections of our lifetimes, hurricanes after hurricane after hurricane, and then sexual assault scandals on our own campus and just racial injustice across the country. It gave us a lot to be sad about and a lot of reasons to say no. It felt like, I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but I felt like I was constantly being bombarded with no, you can't do that. It will never happen. It's impossible. And I think this campaign is giving a reason for students to say yes again. We are taking a step in a different direction. This campaign, as we always say, is built different. We don't do anything the traditional way, and it's honestly exceeding our expectations. We have so many incredible supporters like y'all in the group me and staying involved on social media and in your spheres of influence. But you know what? It's gonna take us continuing that momentum, getting your friends involved, signing up to be a candidate, signing up to be a supporter, so that we can actually get this ticket into an administration and start having those one-on-one meetings with President Galligan every week. If we want to see something actually change, we can talk all day, but everybody has to, move their feet and get to work so that we can see this all come true. And so I'm hopeful and I'm confident in y'all's ability to do this and to walk with us. But sometimes we just need that little extra push. So this is me asking you personally to please get involved, please take the jump and join as a candidate. Here is our interest form. Sign the QR code. If you heard anything that inspired you even a little bit tonight, I don't know how you can't be inspired by Angelina Cantelli. Please scan this flow code and get involved with us, because I promise you won't be disappointed. We're in this together. This is not something that you have to feel alone in or worried about. We're all taking this leap and taking this dive together, and so come with us. It's going to be a good time, and we're already having a blast. So don't hesitate to sign up, and if y'all need absolutely anything, you know where to find me, and I will hype you up all day long. And then this is the snap code, flow code to our group message. If you guys aren't in this, the way I explain this is as it's student government amateur polling. And it basically kind of gives everybody an idea of how many people are interested in our campaign, how many people support us. And I'm very happy to announce that, last year Stone and Hannah set the record for the number of people in their group message with 273, and now we have topped 350. So please, everybody, join the group me, send it to your friends, and let's keep that momentum going. If we're the biggest student government campaign in history, then we can be the biggest, change maker in student government history. So our next meeting will be a ticket meeting on February 4th at 8 p.m. in person in the Greek Amphitheater. We'll be sending out more details as far as symptom trackers and RSVPs. So yeah, definitely come on out. We'd love to see y'all. We are definitely if anybody was out there, the first interest meeting, we're very COVID precautious, social distance, mask enforced. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay. Does anybody have any hard questions for me? I'm ready to go.
Yeah, feel free to just type your question in the chat and we'll see if we can get to it.
And I saw, if for supporter, we're going to be, active campaign week, your traditional passing out the merch. We've got some really cool, unique stuff coming your way for active campaign week. So keep your eye on that. But we're also going to be having very customized merchandise for all of our awesome supporters that we can get specialized for y'all, that are directed to your groups and the communities that you're passionate about and the issues that you want to see changed on LSU's campus. So keep your eye out for some special things.
Yeah, so Sebastian asks us what makes this ticket stand out from the rest. I love that question so much. So honestly, when I joined this campaign, I thought Mia was crazy because she wasn't adhering by any of the quote unquote rules of student government campaigning that I had experienced in the past. But we are definitely dedicated to having our campaign be built different, because that's the only way our administration is going to be built different. And so some things that we have changed on this campaign is, first and foremost, like, we didn't launch in the fall semester. We just didn't feel that was appropriate for students. Students were going through enough in fall 2020, and they did not need to hear about a student government campaign when the election wasn't until March. And so we waited until the day before school started this semester to launch. We also are trying very hard, like our very best, to meet with anyone who is interested in this campaign one-on-one. So before we had officially launched and over Christmas break, we were meeting with people for about 30 minutes each via Zoom, just to have them join our group me and be a supporter, because Mia and I have made it our personal mission to know the people who are on this ticket. We don't want to go into an administration where people who ran for college council or Senate with us are elected and we don't even know their names, or we don't know their major and things like that. And so we've been taking the time for anyone who would like to meet one-on-one to meet with us. And we have been in Charlie's Zoom room, I would say, for at least like 300 hours at this point. It's been a long time, but we love it and it's super fun. So that being said, if you ever want to meet with us, just let us know and we would love to play with you in Charlie's Zoom room. But yeah, and then also we mentioned earlier about us not having ticket dues because we don't feel like it's appropriate to ask of students right now. And so I would say that those three are the biggest ways that we stand out from other campaigns happening now and in the past.
And just to kind of piggyback on what Angelina was saying, I think that, we stand out from other campaigns. Even though Angelina does have a traditional student government background, both of us as candidates have, and a lot of our staff members and the people who are already running for Senate College Council with us are not just in it, to just be student government, get it on their resume and be done with it. These are people who haven't, stopped chasing change on their off years. They have been involved outside in the community, actually learning about issues that make Baton Rouge tick. and making, substantial change that they want to see in their own communities. They don't just limit themselves to, one idea or one perspective. They're people who seek information and chase change. And I think that that's an important perspective to bring into a student government and administration. And it's helped us so much build this ticket to be stronger. So thanks for the really good question.
Okay, so next question, y'all. Could y'all elaborate about maybe explain like the meaning behind the logo and like the other graphic elements and why y'all chose those?
So I would say that It's Time is definitely something that we just kept saying in, meetings between the four of us getting excited for this campaign. It's time for change. It's time to see some action on this. It's time to hold someone accountable. And I think It's Time just kind of represents that for all of us. And it's time to see something momentous happen on this campus. It's time to see history happen. So I'm super excited, about the logo and about the ideas that stand behind the logo.
Okay, great. Next question's from Leah. The mental health center has such limited resources that they have turned away students with chronic illnesses such as depression. Do y'all plan to do something about it, or will those students continue to fall between the cracks?
Yeah, so I think the biggest issue here is the lack of funding for the Student Health Center. I've actually met with them a couple of times already about this issue, and I just want to like start first and foremost saying that we recognize that this isn't just a problem at LSU Baton Rouge. It's a problem for all of the LSU system schools. We've spoken with people in the veterinary school who say that people in or who have read statistically that people in veterinary school have the highest rates of suicide as of like compared to other types of graduate programs. And yet the LSU veterinary school is lacking in their mental health services. We've also spoken to medical students who are only allowed to see a therapist at the LSU Med School in New Orleans 3 times, and then they have to find somewhere else to go. And so clearly there is an issue at all of the LSU campuses about mental health resources. And so unfortunately, funding for the Student Health Center is something that we can't just address with LSU. We would have to go to the state legislator, but Mia and I absolutely intend and promise to have those conversations and to start advocating for that on the state level, because it's not okay. And these are serious things that need to be treated. No one should ever be turned away from getting help with their mental health. And so Mia and I are prepared to contact state representatives and state senators and even in the governor if we have to, and advocate for higher funding for that, for those health centers so that they can have the adequate resources they need to meet the capacity of students who need help.
Okay. What would we be doing during the semester in student government as a college council member besides frequent meetings for our college?
Again, this is Angelina.
I was gonna say, I'll take this question. I love talking college council. I could talk college council all day long if you want to. So my vision for college council is really to have it be a tool that not only puts on events for students in their college, but works on initiatives. So I really want it to be a lot more initiative based. I would love to see people do things like establishing career connections and stuff like that for every college specific. We've heard from some students over the last few weeks that they have been able to find internships or have help finding those kind of programs specific to their major. And of course, we have great resources in the Career Center and with Handshake, but sometimes those aren't always as relevant as what a professor in your college can mentor you on and advise you on. And so we would like to see programs like that happening in each college. But that was just one example of an initiative idea I have. I really want college council members to have their own initiative ideas, because obviously no one else knows what's going on in your college better than you. And so in addition to frequent meetings, you would be expected to host events and initiatives for your college. And frankly, as the vice president who would be leading college council, I would be more comfortable seeing 2 or 3 things that really matter to the students in our college and are going to last beyond that 1 year happen than just table sits and food handouts. I really want to revamp college council to work and put on as many events and initiatives as the executive staff does. I think it's time that college council is held to a standard just like everyone else. Not that our current college council members aren't doing great, but I think that other members of student government, in all honesty, don't see them as equals. And I think that's wrong. So that was my soapbox about college council. But yeah, all that to say that you would have meetings, but you would also be working on events and initiatives specific to your college and ensuring that every student in your college has their voice heard when it comes to whatever Mia and I can advocate for them.
Okay. On the sustainability standpoint, do y'all have any plans to enforce recycling and holding LSU accountable for not always keeping those separate from normal waste?
I think that this is an issue that the university is very aware of. The Daily Reveille wrote a story about it, I believe last year, the year before, about the issue. And Angelina and I actually had a meeting earlier this week with some university officials who were aware of the situation. But they're more concerned about contract laws and different things prohibiting them from exiting their contract with whoever provides their trash pickup. And while that's a valid concern, it really concerns me as to why we got into that contract in the first place. And I think that it's important, that as student leaders who have, positions on different boards that involve LSU related issues, that we actually address, that we actually take the time to look at the things that we're allowing our university to sign off on and not just be the kid at the table who doesn't really know what's happening. And so I plan to keep bringing this issue up with the LSU administration and making sure that they, take this seriously and are doing everything in their capacity to resolve this issue. But I do think that we have to make sure we have to hold them accountable and keep putting pressure on them. But as student representatives, that does mean a lot to have the voice of the student body president, vice president, and other student government officials, prioritizing, those issues. So yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but you got what I mean.
Okay, next question. Do y'all have any plans to implement changes in student government that actively hold every single person in it accountable for being active in their positions? I feel like there have been quite a few people in student government that I've never seen anything from. That could be a transparency issue or an effort issue. I'm not totally sure. That question is from Tara.
So one thing that I think makes our campaign really stand out is that the people who we have chosen for positions aren't just people that, we're close with, they're our friends, they're people that we know are passionate about these issues and are actually going to get the job done and do it well. And so I'm very excited about that element of the campaign, and I'm hopeful to bring it into a future administration. That we're not just hiring people who we think are our friends and we want to give them a good spot because we owe them something or whatever. We want to put people in these positions that are actually in it for the work and are actually here to see sustainable and substantial change on our campus. And so I don't think it's, a transparency issue or any kind of shade on anybody who's currently in student government or who was formerly in student government. I think it's just a failure of the student body president or vice president or former leaders for not choosing people wisely. But that's not something that we, have to let hold us back. We don't have to let those traditions stay in place. It's time, and it's time, a Lejeune Cantelli administration can change that status quo by starting student government, by making sure that the people that we're putting into these positions are actually in it to be in it.
One last question. It looks like, have y'all been endorsed by anyone?
Yeah, so we've been visiting a lot of student organizations to get our name out there and to invite them to be involved in this campaign if they're interested. We have not been officially endorsed by any student organizations. We've kind of been more open to just letting them ask us questions rather than seeking them publicly supporting us at this time. But we are endorsed by Emerge Louisiana, which is a nonprofit organization that helps women get elected in local and state office. And so they have been supporting us and helping us fundraise and connect with women who hold office across our state, who can share their experiences with us in campaigning and things like that. And so we're super thankful for everyone at Emerge for helping us out on this campaign.
Yeah, and there's definitely some things coming up in the next few weeks that y'all should that y'all should stay tuned for and get excited for on that fence. It's going to be a really fun campaign, and I'm really proud of Angelina's and I's ability to bring people together for common goals. And I think that, a lot of organizations, student and otherwise, are really resonating with our mission and our hopes for LSU and our campus. And so I think that, while we can't announce anything quite yet, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. A little tease.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for coming out to the interest meeting tonight. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to send them in the chat or reach out to Mia and I personally, or Charlie and Ricky. All of our emails are on this slide.
Thank you guys so much for coming. It was a great interest meeting, and I hope to see you all at the first ticket meeting on February 4th in the Greek Amphitheater. It's time to make some change.
Wait, I want to answer Tara's question.
I'm like, Tara, did you ask a question? You're all free to go, but we'll stay behind and answer any questions that you guys may have in the meantime.
Yes. Okay, College Council. Yes, I do have some specific plans for College Council and to keep them involved. Something I would really like to see is, as you probably know, senators are automatically on their College Council, and sometimes like those meetings aren't always happening. And I know for the executive branch, Ricky, who's currently the Attorney General, makes a schedule for people to go visit their respective Senate committees. And so I would like to see someone with that kind of position, or I would like to see the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General doing that for College Council, just so we have some organization there and they're connected to their senators. And then there are also a few things that I want to do in College Council specifically, to revamp it to become sort of, I guess, like in my mind, it's the perfect blend between the executive staff and Senate. And so some of that involves adding leadership positions like Senate has, where senators actually hold positions like director of communications, director of development, things like that, where College Council members can also hold those kind of positions. So there's more accountability and there's clear liaisons for certain topics within College Council. And then I also want to revamp the position of vice presidential executive assistant, which I actually was before I was deputy chief of staff. I would like that to be more of a College Council chief of staff. So there's one person who is aware of all the College Council initiatives, who assists the vice president and also holds College Council members accountable. But then they can also help connect College Council members with members of the executive branch or Senate, since they would technically be a member of the executive branch. So those are just a few of the ideas I have College Council wise, but I'm super happy that you asked that question because I love talking about it. Of course, y'all have a great night. Thank y'all again.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate y'all.